It's today, and you know what that means, folks. It's PJ Abilene's birthday. Happy birthday, Pidge. I love you, man. This one is for you. We'll talk about him a little bit more at the end. And it's also Caleb Budd's birthday, so happy birthday, Caleb. Great guy. Happy birthday. And Adrian Russell, happy birthday to you, girl. I hope you're having a good one and enjoying it any way you can. That goes for all you guys. Polo, what up, my man? How you doing, baby? Long time no see. Good to see you out here. What's up, Natty girl? So, aside from talking about three great people, we're also going to be talking about carb intake and timing today. And let's start with a few fun facts. What do you say? Because it's Women with Nerd Out time! You thought we forgot to say it! Oh, of course not! We don't forget. Alright, so. Hello, Jameson. Sit with our backwards chair like a cool kid. The cool kids in school. So, in terms of what we burn through on an average day, just hanging out, going about our daily business, we're talking 1 gram per pound of body weight of carbs, right? So again, 200 pounds, burn through about 200 grams a day. That's the average person. Obviously, it's different for everyone. What we store in our muscles, on average, 400 to 700 grams of carbs, right? In the form of glycogen, right? Our stored form of carbohydrates. Now, that's a lot. That's a lot. Right? So we have a lot to get through before we would fully deplete those. You can imagine there is a lot of effort, energy we would have to expend, people, and it is a common misconception that, we should have all these carbs during the day, a lot more than we really need. So we really don't need as many as we might think, right? So during an average workout, you're looking at about 30% of your carbohydrate stores being burned. Now that's an average, hour-long gym, hard workout. That's a hard workout, all right? That's like a bodybuilder workout, I think is what the study I was reading was saying. So, that does include some breaks, that includes some heavy lifting and things like that. But if you're doing super high intensity, it is different. And I would like to supplement that with an example from another study where they tested how many grams of carbs, what percent at least of their glycogen stores people were burning doing 6-second interval sprints. So sprinting for 6 seconds as fast as you can. So to kind of give an idea of how far that's probably sprinting, right? We're in the 4s for our 40s usually, right? Athletes, at least. And, let's land at say 50 yards for the average person. I think it's fair, and it's easy numbers, right? So, sprinting for 6 seconds 10 times. 10. That's a lot of sprinting. That's a lot. And that's at full intensity, all out. Only burnt 25% of their glycogen stores. So, it would take 40 of those. And who's doing 40, 50-yard sprints? I don't know. If you are, you're better than me, and, anyone pretty much I know. That's pretty crazy, Usain Bolt. But, 40, 50-yard sprints to burn through all your glycogen stores. So, man, it would take a lot, people. So, let's talk a little bit about the timing of when we should be eating them and how much, because it does differ, and what types, right? So let's go, let's talk about that person that, you eat throughout the day, you have a big lunch, and you do your workout at night. That's a lot of us, I think. That's personally not me. I do intermittent fasting, and I've talked with a bunch of you about it. If you want to talk about it or, hear any cool facts about it, you can message me. I would love to talk about it because it's super interesting, and I find it to be very effective. But for those of you that just eat pretty much normal throughout the day, and you have that big lunch, say 3-4 hours before your workout, you're looking for about 0.5 to 0.25 grams of carbs per pound of body weight. All right? So, 200 pounds, right? 150 to 100. all right, grams of carbs, which is a good amount. All right, and that's if you're doing some real high intensity stuff. All right, and you want a lot of energy sustained throughout that whole workout. Now, I don't think this isn't absolutely necessary to have energy through the workout. You could fast all day and then work out and have energy. I do every day, but especially if you take a pre-workout or something like that, right? But preferably all natural with ingredients. But if you are somebody that, you like to eat throughout the day, 0.25 to 0.5 grams per pound of body weight if you're eating that big lunch and working out at night. If you're somebody that, you like to eat an hour and a half, an hour before the workout. All right, so pretty close proximity. Oh, and I should say, if you're eating that big lunch, working out at night, right, of that 3 to 4 hour range, whatever, that 0.25 to 0.5 gram per pound of body weight, you want it to be more complex, high fiber carbohydrates because you need that energy to be sustained for those few hours. You wouldn't go eating some simple carbs that are you're gonna roast through in the next hour or two, right, or in 30 minutes, right, even better. And then you add energy, right? So you want to have those good ones, right? Those oats, that oatmeal, right? The brown rice, things we talked about. The whole wheat bread. Hey, take it easy. The whole wheat bread. Man, my dog's very protective. He thinks he's doing us a favor by barking because he's protecting us. But nonetheless, those high quality carbs with higher fiber. Those veggies, things like that. We talked about dark leafy greens yesterday, right? And the value of having carbs that have starch and fiber as opposed to the simple carbs that have more just sugar, right, on average. So if you're eating an hour and a half before, to get back to this person, all right, you're looking for about 0.25. You're going on the low end of what was aforementioned for that person eating a big lunch in terms of your range. And that's 0.25 grams of carbs per pound of body weight. So that 200-pound guy, yep. You're at 50 grams of carbs if you're eating an hour and a half, even close to 2, an hour before, something like that. And in this case, you want either a smaller amount, this is relative to the person we just mentioned before, that's eaten earlier. You want a smaller amount of those high quality, those starchy, high fiber carbs, right? You want a smaller amount of those because if you have too much, you're going to have a full stomach for the workout. It's going to be uncomfortable, right? Nobody wants that. But if you're going to have some simpler carbs, you could just have or moderate amount of them, right? Of simpler carbs. So, within that hour, the workout's coming up pretty quick. So what about the person that wants to eat 15 minutes before? You want to eat like right before the workout. You like to have energy, close proximity, all right? Now, you're looking a lot less, so 0.1 grams per pound of body weight. So, making it easy, breaking it down to 10% of your body weight in grams of carbs. So that 200-pound guy, right? 20 grams of carbs, and that's within like 15 minutes. And you want these, you won't hear me say this often, people, but you want these to be those simple, quick energy carbs because you don't want a high fiber, starchy carbohydrate. When you're working out in 15 minutes, you're going to be walking around all sluggish. You probably throw up on a row machine, right? So, nobody wants that. And so I have those simpler ones that's quicker to break down, right? If they're ever, and I don't recommend eating candy, but if you're somebody where I can't help you and you just love it, or, if there ever was a time to eat it during your day, it's 10, 15 minutes before your workout is when you should have that handful of Skittles. So there you go. You get the point. So when we talk about eating during a workout, right, in terms of carbohydrates, again, because this is all relative to carbs, generally we don't need any carbs during the workout. Like we said before, we burn through 30% of the stores for relatively rigorous hour-long workout. So why would we need more than that, right? We still got another 70% left to get through, right? And we're going to eat them after the workout. We're going to talk about that timing tomorrow and how much you want to eat and with protein. Now, also, when you're having them before, I should have said before, whether it's the hour or 3 hours before, have some protein with it, some high-quality protein as well, all right? It's better than purely just the carbs. So During the workout, the only exception really that you might want to have some carbs is if you're doing some super high intensity 90-minute like ice hockey game. You know, you're playing hockey is the example I saw when I was reading, and then maybe you would need a little bit extra if you get through those stores, right? But the vast majority of the time, you don't, people. So, just burn through it for the workout and eat those high quality carbs after. And we'll talk about which ones. We'll talk about how long after your workout. More tomorrow. So, having said that, great quick discussion per usual here at When Wellness Nerd Out Time, right? And I want to say, PJ, dude, I love you, man. I love you. You're an absolute beast. I mean, PJ, he's just, I've said everything I wanted to say to you about, athleticism and things like that. We both know. I don't need to say anything. Your playing always did the talk for itself. It's always how you were. You're always more of a silent leader, just walking the walk, man. And tons of respect, tons of respect for you. And everybody that I know loves you and has tons of respect for you. So that says a lot. When we talk about Caleb, I think of you coming before practice when I was doing some kicking and you'd be doing some kicking. You're always eager to just to dive in and to try to get better, and you never hesitated to go through a lot of repetition to do so, and I respect that. So a lot of respect for that as well. I hope you have a great day too. So Adrian, I hope you're doing great, girl. I haven't seen you in a long time, wherever you are. I hope, again, you're having a fantastic day. I hope you're doing great in practice, and this one was for you too. So happy birthday to the three of you, and happy Carb Week, people, and another day down for it. Thank you very much. What's up? What up, Josh? What up, Sammy? What up, John? Toothies. Is that Will Weed? I think it is. What up, Gino? My man. Thanks for hopping on. All right, you guys, fantastic. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow for another one. Happy Wellness. Have a great rest of your night, guys.